More than 5 years. And God, are my arms tired, Chase. It is February 5th. It is currently 30 degrees outside here in the Midwest where we're at. And I'm cold.
Is this an episode of Pilot Program?
Wait, I didn't do it right, did I? We're currently flying at a certain altitude. Frank Sinatra's playing, but we can still stream it.
Also, unless there's something crazy going on, it's 40 degrees where I am.
Oh, is it 40?
Yeah.
Did it go up? You got that. I'm out here in the county, man. You got that city heat going.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All these big metal buildings.
It's sure. All the buses. The buses. The one bus that goes through St. Louis. My name's Bobby. That's Chase. We are the Casual Hour. This is episode 410. It is the February Games Showcase. One of my favorite things that we do here. You are in luck. Your backlog's hungry, and we're going to feed it, baby. I hope you want some slop.
Bobby.
Yes.
Next episode
is 411.
We're gonna give them the 411.
The 411. We've got the 411.
We're gonna get some real news on the next episode, ladies and gentlemen.
And 420 is likely going to be hitting on 420, which is
the road to 420 starts now.
The road to 420 starts now.
It's like WrestleMania.
Chase, I did something before we get into it. I just want to say for all of you that are listening of a certain age, I want you to know it's okay and encouraged. I did something brave. I finally bumped the resolution settings on my monitors to the recommended 150%, and everything's a little bit bigger. And I got to tell you, dude, just knock those fucking fonts up, get them bigger, live your life. Look at a screen that looks like, something you would make fun of. I am living it over here. I've got 2 big screens, big font. I don't have to squint anymore. It's wonderful.
So I've got pretty good vision. Like these are not glasses. These are blue blockers that I thought were stupid and fun, and now
they are fun.
Now I just wear them all the time for the podcast. I never wear them outside of this. And I have pretty good vision, and yet. When I was reading some books on my iPad Mini, this thing, not a huge one, just a normal size one. There was a time where I was like, maybe I should bump up the font just a little bit.
Just give in.
I bumped it up a little bit, and I went, okay.
Just
and then I bumped it up a little bit more. I was like, all right,
yes,
yeah.
We're
and
fucking
it was just
living.
The Jeff Gerstmann meme,
bigger. God.
And it was a little funny. I was reading 1984, which is to get me prepared for the world that we
yes. You're a little late getting prepared, but go on.
And I was starting with the regular font the default font that it came with, and it was like so many pages long, and then I bumped it up and bumped it up and bumped it up. I was like, this book isn't supposed to be 700 pages long. And it's because I had the font size up so much. But you know what? It was, other than the content of the book, which was not very pleasant. It was a very pleasant reading experience.
This is almost the exact same conversation for when I get into a hot tub. The water is just going to go somewhere. It's not a pleasant experience for everybody else, but I'm having a great time. And speaking of having a great time, we've got a couple new games. Well, a new game to talk about and a new game for us to talk about. And then lots of new games for you to learn about. So if your backlog is needing more, just like that sourdough starter, we're going to give it a slight burp. And I got to tell you, Chase, I think February is, and has kind of been for a few years now, what November used to be for us growing up. I think February has become stacked. And
maybe. I think it's stacked for you. I think there's some cool smaller games for me, but definitely like the big releases of February are some Bobby ass video games.
Big time. So we're going to break down the free games that you get to play. We're going to talk about our picks from January. We're going to talk about our picks for February. And we're going to let you also know about some of the games that we've been playing right now. And I'm going to start that off. Chase, Sniper Elite.
Spin a wheel.
Oh, yes. We have to spin a wheel. Yeah. We're not savages.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I'm going to finish Bayonetta 2. It's not that it's a bad game. I just don't think I need to play more of that to know that game was pretty good. I think I'm done playing it now though.
That's fair.
I can spin a wheel.
We will spin a wheel, but before we get to the wheel, let me tell you about Sniper Elite Resistance. I streamed this on
Please.
Friday night. This is from Rebellion Studios. I guess this is like maybe the sixth entry, official entry into the Sniper Elite
Is this the
franchise.
same dev who's done all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And I have beaten, I think, or I'm at least in the last level of it already. There is a big roadmap, or there was a roadmap for DLC content for it. This is more or less Sniper Elite 5, Chase. So if you like that game and you've played that game, this is a story happening at the same time as the main events of Sniper Elite 5, but this time they put Harry Hawker as the main, and he's been like the co-op default that if you play with somebody, they're usually Harry. He's also been like in the multiplayer stuff from, I think, Sniper Elite 3 is where he first
Gotta be honest, not familiar with the Sniper Elite lore.
You know, nobody is, Chase. That's the thing. And what I have found is Harry is very annoying. His voice sucks. It sounds like and maybe it is, and I no fault to him if he's doing this. This is either Jason Statham, like at a low point in his career, or somebody who desperately wants to be him. And it's so weird to have somebody like doing the ad lib stuff. He's a bit more wild than your other Sniper Elite characters. He's very much into hurting people, and you do that here beautifully. So I will tell you that shooting Nazis and fascists never gets old, but I think people in general are hoping that Sniper Elite maybe goes down like the Hitman path of reinventing itself, maybe offering a fresher take on this, because I think this game feels the same for generations
that's what
now.
I feel like I've heard is
Yeah.
that if you've played one Sniper Elite, you've kind of played them all, and
Yeah.
this one almost even more so is just the same thing again.
What
Like
was
you were talking about, like, oh, if you played Sniper Elite 5, you're right at home. I played Sniper Elite 3.
Yep.
That's the one I got, and then when 4 came around, I was like, well, I don't know. I kind of already have this experience with 3, and I never finished that, so I could just go play more 3 if I wanted to. And I think I'm just kind of stuck in that world of, I guess if I was way into this and finished 3 and finished 4 and finished 5 and was like, yeah, all right, keep giving this stuff to me, like having new map layouts might be interesting to me, but it does kind of seem like it is just the same game over and over again.
Yeah, I think that this has not been near the high watermark for me that 5 was, and I'm not going to tell you it's a bad game, because I don't believe it's a bad game. I think it's a fine game. It feels like DLC. Like, I'm surprised that they stretched this out to be an 8 mission deal.
Well, I mean, if there was in a vacuum, this is a great game. Like, if there was no Sniper Elite 5 and this
fantastic
was
game.
Sniper Elite 5, you would say this game's fantastic. But we do have to like talk about the context of the video game and the time it came in.
Yeah.
And it is tough when you just make small polishing improvements to a formula that's been there. I mean, I've heard and experienced this many times as a Pokemon fan of, like, those games don't change very much.
No.
They don't evolve, if you will.
Yeah.
And when and in my case, when they do try to change, I think they fuck it up. And I wish they would stop doing that. But yeah, it's tough, especially in a genre like this, where there aren't a ton of sniper games.
No,
Sniper Elite
especially like the arcade
one.
take on it. That's not a thing.
But Sniper Elite is probably one of the bigger ones in this genre. It's certainly one of the longer lasting ones. And I think when you're leading a genre like that, it becomes even more glaring that, okay, this hasn't really changed all that much.
No, and like what the game does well, it does in other ones too. Like, it does a really good job of letting you play it how you want to play it. If you want to be violent and loud, you can be. If you want to be just a sniper that is a ghost, you can do that as well. There's some fun challenges. I have not played the propaganda. I think it's called Propaganda. missions. Those sound pretty neat. This one does have, and I have it turned off by open invitation, but kind of like on there's an invasion mode that reminds me a little bit about Gambit, or was it Gambit? What's that thing in Destiny, the where you can invade?
PvE one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
Gambit.
Gambit. So you can be playing this, and I can go into somebody's campaign as an enemy sniper, and I can try and take them out. And
Oh, what was the PlayStation first-person shooter that did that?
I don't know if I remember.
Yo, you played it. You were like on an island, and like there was an assassin. Like, you were an assassin, but there
Oh,
was an assassin also.
Deathloop.
Deathloop. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's very, it's that.
yeah. Or
And
like
you,
a Dark Souls, like invading somebody's zone.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that could be a fun cat and mouse thing here, but this reminds me a lot what Uncharted did with their kind of like spin-off where you played as the two females from the game. Can't remember the name of that one.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah, like it's a great piece to expand on what's going on, and I think it's cool they did something with Harry here. My hope is that they are putting out something with the assets they had, just so they can maybe go back and say what could we do to expand and freshen up this franchise. But
Have all of these games been set in World War II?
So I've only like 5 was my first one. I did end up buying 3 and 4 because I liked 5 so much. I've not gone and played those, so I can only speak to this, but I think they all are.
Three is definitely World War II.
Yeah.
I think they all are. I wonder if that's also something that is weighing on people in a similar way to Call of Duty back in the day, where it was like, okay, they're all World War II. We've done a lot of World War II ones, and then that's what made Modern Warfare so nuts.
Yeah.
That they did it. They changed settings. They got to feel so much fresher. And then when you go back to like World at War, which wasn't that many more Call of Duties after Modern Warfare, there was something that felt fresh again about going back to World War II time. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that don't translate all that well when you're doing World War II sniping versus more modern sniping or even older
100%.
sniping. But I think that would help to pull in an audience to go like, okay, it is not just. I mean, hey, again, like you said, shooting Nazis doesn't really get old.
No,
but there's some neo Nazis out there that you could also shoot.
100%. So the game that sets you back $50, which I think is fair. It's also on Game Pass. There's an $80 deluxe edition that gets you the lights, camera, acting, which is the Kill Hitler mission, and then you also get the season pass with this. So you get a few extra bonus weapons, and I don't think the French guns are as cool as ones you get in the other games, but they get the job done for sure.
What if you blood dragoned this?
I mean,
Sniper Elite Blood Dragon, where they just kind of let themselves go nuts.
Sniper Elite Paintball.
Sure.
But no, it's a cool game. I think that there's better Sniper Elites to play that are probably this price, if not cheaper. And again, this one's on Game Pass, so if you're curious, like hop in there, check it out. If you like it, I would strongly encourage you to go play 5 and then play this one. But that is my update on it. I probably won't be playing it or talking about it much unless there's some really killer stuff that comes on the season pass. And there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about here pretty quick. And I do have one other game I've been playing that I will briefly mention in a little bit and talk more about next week. So Chase K Plays has evolved.
It has, yeah. I've also played a little bit more Dynasty Warriors. I'm still liking that game, but I'm trying to not choke it all down at once. I'm letting it be a slower burn because I'm just really enjoying it. I think I am at like right at the point where I finally do make a decision on which army I'm going to go with.
Who are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with Woo.
Yeah,
Woo's my boys. I love Woo. They should have won the whole goddamn thing, but they
what can you do?
Didn't work out for them. But I like a lot of the people on the Woo side.
Nice.
Anyway, what I've been playing is a different war, and that's Star Wars Battlefront II. Like you said, I've been playing stuff on Chase K Plays. I was playing Star Wars Battlefront 1, the original one, and that's a series I've been cultivating called Go Play a Star Wars. Bobby helped me with the name. He helped me with the thumbnail.
It's
You should
cool.
probably
It's a cool
you should
series.
probably just come on at one point
Dude, I'd love to. I'd love to come and
talk
hang out
about
with
Star
you.
Wars with me.
You're still planning
I
on
mean,
getting
I know
into.
you don't love talking about Star Wars, but I think you might do it for me if you come on.
Are you you're doing Battlefront 2. I would love to come back and just kind of see what that looks like, but you
Sure.
do I mean, can I tease out what you've teased to me? Like, is that okay to do? Like,
Sure. Yeah,
you
go for
you
it.
talk you talked about playing KOTOR, right?
Yeah, I think KOTOR is somewhere in the mix. I think probably once I finish Battlefront 2 for Chase K plays, I will take a break from that and move to a different series of some kind. I don't know if I'd go. I know I want to do Pokemon Stadium 2 at some point.
Did you
I don't know if that'll be next. I've got some ideas on things I would like to do, but I know I will come back to Star Wars sometime this year, and I think
Yeah.
KOTOR is probably a great place to do that.
Didn't they add isn't Pod Racer on Switch Online?
I think it is. I was never. I like that game, but
Yeah.
you know,
Anyway,
I don't know.
if you want to if I could hang out with Chase and talk about Star Wars, I'll be there.
See, I mean, you're doing that right now.
I know. I'm doing it now.
So the thing I learned, because I had never, so I had played Battlefront 1 at my cousin's place.
Yeah.
And because he had the game, I did not. And when we played it there, it seemed like magic. And funny enough,
this is also of the time, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
it was when this game first came out. Funny enough, I also played Dynasty Warriors for the first time at his place and went like, this thing is magic. I need
fucking
this.
formative years at your cousin's house. It sounds.
Oh yeah,
like.
my cousin had some real fucking good games. He
Yeah.
had, WWF No Mercy, and that's when I first got introduced to that. There was like a James Bond Nightfire, I think, which is not the best James Bond game, but I do have some fun. Gran Turismo 3 A Spec, I first played at his place.
Okay.
And I never had a PlayStation growing up, so like going to his place, and he lived in Oklahoma, so it wasn't every day I was going over there, but maybe once a year or once every couple of years, and just seeing like, look at the new shit on the PlayStation. This is rad.
The PlayStation just continues to melt your mind.
It's like I go over to his place and it's like, when do we play Dynasty Warriors?
God,
like,
you were probably
hell yeah, I do.
trying to get your fucking fix at a young age. God, you little.
Yeah, I mean,
heathen.
I had a lot of video games, but there was still some stuff that I was not exposed to.
Sure.
So Battlefront 1, I played at his place, and we just did a couple exhibition matches, and it was a lot of fun. And then I could leave, and I didn't play through the whole campaign of it.
Living clean.
So it was just fine at that point. But going back and playing it for the first time, like all the way through doing the campaign of Battlefront 1 for Chasey Gay Plays, that game didn't feel very good.
Ooh.
It felt too sticky in some ways with like the reticle stuff. It felt too jagged. Like maybe it would have felt better on a PC where you have mouse.
What year was that? 2002, right?
I used to know. Yeah, I had to write it down for something, but I don't have it.
I can pull it up too.
So there's just a lot of stuff that felt janky, and I was really worried because I played a lot of Battlefront 2 back in the day and loved Battlefront 2. So I was really worried that these games were bad. These games are bad now. You can't go back to them.
2004.
2004 for Battlefront 1.
Yeah.
So playing Battlefront 1 on Chasey K Plays, I went like, this isn't it. I'm not really enjoying it, and I had a tough time. Like there were high points for sure, but it was a lot of oh boy. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about Battlefront? Is Battlefront 2 going to be just as bad? Or did
no, it's the kids who were wrong.
Exactly. Did they fix those controls at Battlefront 2? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. And by the way, I'm playing both of these games as part of the Battlefront collection that has gotten patched over, and
sure.
Like they've fixed the game that came out like a year ago.
Yes.
But nobody's playing it online anymore. Nobody cares. But I also don't care because I'm just playing the campaign.
Yeah, you're just doing your thing.
So I loaded up Battlefront 2. I finished Battlefront 1 on a recording, and then immediately jumped into Battlefront 2 on that same recording and thought, this is going to be great. Now I have like a perfect comparison I have like the muscle memory of Battlefront One going into the second game. Let's see if it's any better. And Bobby, I'm happy to report it's fucking night and day. Battlefront 2 fucking
We are
rules.
so back. That's great. That's great.
There's it's mostly the same game, but I think the subtle changes that they put in there really make a lot of difference. I think the controls feel tighter and better, more
How many
responsive.
episodes have you got on this game so far? One, two, more than that?
Uh, I think when the it came out today, didn't it? God, I forgot to post about it today. I was too busy. I think this is the third Battlefront 2
Okay.
episode, but it's kind of like two and a half because that one was a kind of a tweener of Battlefront
Got
and
it.
Battlefront 2. But the things that it improves on are subtle, but they matter. Like
And
there
this was only
are
a year apart, I think.
was it one? It might have been 1 or 2 years.
Well,
But
I'll find out.
but the like the first game had hero units like that
Yeah.
you Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader were running around there and killing some people, but you could never play as them in Battlefront 1. So you just kind of like, oh, hey, there's Darth Vader over there. Maybe I can walk around near him and shoot some stuff while he kills a bunch of things. In this game, you can you unlock them as objectives over the course of a battle, and in the campaign stuff, there's specific points of the battle where they're like, hey, do you want to play as Ayla Secura? And I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, this is a great time to do that. Where and then in like the normal exhibition matches, I think you need to get so many kills before they unlock as an option that you can start playing as those hero units
Really quick.
in a mission. Go for it.
Battlefront 1 was September 21st, 2004, and 2 was November 1st, 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think they made some good additions
Yeah.
between there.
Yeah.
The other big thing, especially from like a campaign perspective, is that it's not just the normal battles that you get
Oh,
from
that's
the
right.
exhibition mode. They put in some light objectives, but they at least put in some objectives to make you feel like you have to do something. It's the first one is like a droid army thing, and you're playing as the clones, and you have to it's the Kiadi Mundi mission.
Oh, yes.
So you see the big conehead motherfucker, and but it's like you need to get to this area and secure that spot, and now you need to take down these two shield generators, and now you need to do like a capture the flag thing where you pull this back
They added
and
some
you
fun
take this
shit for
back
sure.
to the ship, and it's a little bit more dynamic than just I don't know, play as this clone trooper and mow down as many dudes as you can before you get mowed down, and keep going and keep doing that. And so even though the core gameplay is the same, it feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more to do that kind of feels like it's changing up the action. And then it really changes up the action when they say, okay, now here's a Jedi that you can play as for a little bit. And they play completely differently. And that
Huh.
feels great. And then the other big thing is space battles. Like they got the vehicle combat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the first game does have vehicles, and they're all terrible. They all feel like absolute dog shit, especially the bigger levels like a Bespin Cloud City, where
Yeah.
they go, oh well, here's a Y wing. You can get into the Y wing, and you get into it, and it's like, oh, these controls feel
God, the
like shit,
Y-wing
and also
rules, though.
the world isn't big enough for this, and it's terrible. You should never get in the vehicles, especially the flying ones.
Keep me honest here. You get them on the ground and you go up into the sky, correct? Like, do I remember that
No,
correctly?
no. So in Battlefront One, you would be in like the Cloud City, and you
Yeah.
could get in those vehicles, and you can kind of fly above the map, but you're still in the map, and the map is still pretty tiny, so you can't go
I thought for
very
sure
far.
that I did that where I like left the ground and went up into the sky for a battle.
You can, but like you're not going up into space. Like
Okay,
you're
that's what I
you're
thought. Damn,
yeah. It's not No Man's Sky in that way,
it
and
should be.
Battlefront Two isn't either, because now they've said, okay, we know that sucked. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have ground battles that have ground vehicles, your ATSTs
Yeah.
and your speeder bikes and your shit like that, and then we have space battles. And space battles are like two big capital ships next to each other, and you can go into the hangar and you can pick from a fleet of ships and you get in those and you can space battle stuff. And what I love doing and what they have you do sometimes is go into the other capital ship and land your plane and then
Got
go
it.
fuck them up from the inside, which
Got
is
it.
so goddamn cool. So that stuff feels so much richer and
Sure.
so much
Sure.
more interesting, and the controls feel so much better for it, and it's fantastic. And I remember it all came back to me immediately of like, yes,
That's great, man.
this is the Battlefront that
That
I
makes me
love.
so jazzed to hear. That's fucking
It's
rad.
so good. It's so good. Weirdly though, I guess there are people who just don't like those missions, or maybe in testing they figured there some people wouldn't like these missions because you can skip all the space battles in the campaign.
Ugh.
They give you the option to skip a space battle. They
Why
don't
would
give you the
you?
option to skip
Star
any
Wars
other
has the
battle.
best ships out of any science fiction. Like, why would you
Yeah.
not see those? It's not like, dude, Chase, it's not even close. Like, anybody who tries to stand on business with me about another science fiction platform, pound for pound, there's no other franchise that has better ships at the
agree.
level. Like, they're just the best looking ships. They're so fucking cool.
I think you can have some sci-fi stuff where you can say like this one ship is
Oh, absolutely.
better.
This
Better
ship
than some
might be
stuff.
better than any ship there, but collectively,
Yeah,
like when
by
you look
volume,
at
like
volume
Star
and
Wars,
yes,
there's so many cool things.
yes.
What's your favorite Star Wars ship, Bobby? Not to ruin some content that would happen on Chasing the Blaze.
My favorite. I mean, I cannot not say it's the fucking snow speeder dude from.
God damn it, Bobby, you ruined it. We were
What?
supposed to have completely different
Oh.
ones, so it'd be like, oh, look at like all the Star Wars vehicles are so good,
well,
right?
but I mean, like that is such a fucking awesome one.
Yeah, the snow speeder is
Like
100%
having
my
two
number one,
people, the
easy.
way that they do it, the harpooning, like
Yep,
it
the
is
cable
such a
shit, yeah.
fucking awesome. Like the way it curves down and almost looks like a fin on the side of it. Like that was a mind-melting moment in fucking Shadow of the Empire when I was
Yeah.
young Bobby and I got to do that, and you get to bring down an AT-AT. Like, are you kidding me?
That game's so good. I mean, it gets bad later, but that game starts so strong, putting you on.
That's I think that there are parts of Outlaws where I feel like the scoundrel that Dash Rendar was. Like, there's parts of that like I would love for them to explore it. And I kind of think, what was her name? That is it Amy Henderson? Was that her Star Wars game they got?
Amy Hennig.
Yes,
The
thank you.
person. Yeah.
Yes, I think her Star Wars game could have been that, and
Possibly.
who knows what could have been, Chase.
So I'm just very glad that
I'm glad
I wasn't just wearing the rose-colored glasses, and that this game actually does rip. And it's also a much longer campaign.
That's good.
So
That's real good.
I'm looking forward to continuing battling that stuff out. I mean, the campaign. I actually don't remember if the campaign spills into the original trilogy as well, because like right now it's all Order 66 stuff, where we're all playing as clones and we're all like it's all they got the Australian guy who does all the clones and all the Boba Fett stuff. And like he's got all these like pre-mission stuff of like, oh, Ki-Adi Mundi, he was so cool. It's a shame that we had to fuck him up later. Like that's basically all.
It's a shame they put him in the last Star Wars show because he should not have been there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we should leave Ki-Adi Mundi away. Anyway, it's great. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
You're putting those out weekly, right?
Yeah, comes out weekly. New episode that came out today.
If anybody's watching
live,
there's in chat.
Yeah,
you can get there.
So
if you're listening, it's in our show notes. Go look for Chase in our show notes, and you'll find a link.
Or search Chase K Plays on YouTube. You'll find it.
Cool.
So that's been great, and yeah, I should absolutely have you on at some point.
Dude,
not to necessarily play, but to just sit here and talk about Star Wars as I shoot some shit. That would be great.
I've got a lot of Star Wars books. I can talk to you about those while we're hanging out too.
That would be fantastic.
Well, fantastic, Chase. Those are the video games that we're going to be talking about, hopefully from February. But were the January games fantastic? And I was going to do something new. I was going to tell you about it before tonight, but but I want to do it on the cuff and see how you feel.
Okay. Love being surprised.
What if you and I, when we talk about the games that we played or the games that we picked from January, obviously lots happened between now and then. At this episode every month, let's say what our favorite game we played that month was, regardless of when it came out, regardless of what it was on the list. Our favorite video game that we played, and let's make note of that so we have something to look back at the end of the year.
Okay. I I guess my only worry is that starts to like ruin potential surprise for the end of the year.
Oh, then let's not do it.
Uh,
Easy.
Bobby crumbles at the slightest bit of pushback.
I don't want conflict. Only in Star Wars. No, that's fine. I like surprises.
It's a thought. Let's have that discussion more.
Okay.
I think that would be a good discussion.
Well, I'll let you take over from here, and I'll pop back in with some Game Pass updates in a minute.
Sure. January I think was a pretty successful month for both of us. You had on your list, you had picks of Hyper Light Breaker, which came to early access, and you've been playing that, and we're enjoying it, right?
Yeah, it needs to bake a little bit longer, and I'm going to let it do that. But they have already done significant updates on it, and it has a really cool potential to it.
Yeah, sounds like it's getting some good feedback from the community, and they're listening to it, and they're continuing to improve the game. So I'm looking forward to when it's done.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, you jumped in a little bit early and saw what it was like. Eternal Strands, which you will not stop texting me about.
That
so I'm guessing you like it.
It's really, really good. It's surprising the hell out of me, and it looks and runs great. I'm finding the loop to be very satisfying, and I'm getting the Monster Hunter vibes that people have for it. It's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus. Also, there's going to be a creature that you have to fight to move forward and get like a unique part. It's really good. I've got 3 different weapon types. I've got a ranged weapon, which is a bow. I've got a sword and board, and now I have a big old fucking like chunky 2-hander that's doing some really, really good damage. It's fun, man. It's a cool game. It's a really cool game.
And then we talked about it earlier, but you also had Sniper Elite Resistance, which it sounds like you are. I mean, it's good, but it's kind of the same thing we've
more of the same.
As for me, I had 2. I had Dynasty Warriors Origins, which, as you heard, I'm still playing and still very much enjoying. I've kind of gotten the itch to go back and read the book again. I'm like,
oh shit,
do I really
like leading up to it?
Yeah, it's like, do I really want to put 2,100 more pages back onto my onto my list of things to do? I don't know. I've been trying to find other ways. I watched a not very good Three Kingdoms inspired movie about a week ago, and I'm like, this isn't quite what I'm looking for, but it's tough. But I just love that era, and I love those characters. So having a great time with Origins. I think Origins is really, really good.
I really like it. I'm playing it still, having a good time with it.
I'm so happy that you are enjoying it and you checked it out. And then I also had Citizen Sleeper 2 Star Wars Vector, which just came out last week. It came out on the last day of January. I haven't picked this up yet. I haven't heard literally anybody talk about it.
I know. I haven't seen anything on this game. I know it's got good reviews, but dude, like, there's nobody talking about it. And I felt
like I was hearing a little bit about it on the lead up to the game coming out. But since the game has actually come out, I have not heard a single word. I have not seen a single screenshot.
Dude, nothing.
I don't know.
And that could be like, I don't know if it's because like my social media foundation is literally in shambles right now. So I have no idea if I'm just not tuned in to the algorithms as I once was. Like, I have no idea, but I'm with you. I was actually going to be like, dude, are you playing this? Because it's on Game Pass. I haven't downloaded it yet. I didn't love the first one, but there's somebody I know from St. Louis who is obsessed with it. Like, one of their favorite games of all time, obsessed with it. And I haven't seen anything from them on this one. It's just very, very weird.
I mean, I really liked a lot of stuff from the first one. I think that was our Game of the Year episode where what was the other adventure game that we all liked?
Norco,
thank you.
Yep.
And I ended up being a little higher on Citizen Sleeper than Norco. even though I think Norco is probably the better video game. But I liked a lot of like the mechanical stuff. I liked the setting. I liked some of the story things they were doing with Citizen Sleeper.
I can't even remember if
And
Johnny played Citizen Sleeper. I don't know if he did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
But the big problem with it is just it felt like my actions didn't really have all that many consequences. Even when they kind of tried to push you with consequences, they would just kind of go, oh, actually, hey, you just found the item. Oh, we'll just delay for another couple days for that money. Don't worry about it. And so it never felt like I was, I didn't necessarily want that to be a roguelike exactly, but I did want
I,
it to feel
I don't
like
know, man.
I went down a different path than somebody else because it didn't just kind of allow me to.
You didn't have
And
this issue.
from what I hear, there is more branching that's happening in Citizen Sleeper 2,
Yeah.
and the idea of having these different crewmates that you can be a part of, and it sounds like a bigger thing, um, which also scared me. I know we talked about this in the preview for it as well, but just yeah, the idea that I haven't heard much of anything from
Pretty
the
telling.
games writers that I follow and trust, who I know wrote about Citizen Sleeper 1, and I remember hearing lots of stuff about Citizen Sleeper and just not hearing anything about the second game.
I
It's
just don't think it was
kind of wild to me.
advertised as much. Like, I just haven't seen a whole lot leading up to it either. So
That could be. That could be.
we'll see.
So I'm going to kind of keep checking in. Maybe I'll do a little deeper dive on
Yeah.
looking for some of the coverage.
Yep.
Um, but I'm not in a position where I really need to play another video game right now. I'm having a great time with Dynasty Warriors. I've got Chase K Play stuff that I'm doing, and I've been doing a lot of stuff outside of video games. So it's not that much of a priority for me, especially for a game that I'm not as excited about as some other stuff.
Yeah. Totally fair. Is there anything free that has your interest?
Well, let's take a look, Bobby. On PlayStation Plus Essential this month, we have 3 video games. One of them is Payday 3 for the
The bad one.
PS5. Do what?
The bad one.
Is it?
I mean, it launched
Payday.
in such a state that they saw an increase in sales on Payday 2. Let's see what Steam says, because I have not checked for a while.
It's very much the Overwatch 2 of Payday video games.
Yes. So Payday 3 is $30 right now, and it is sitting at a mixed, even for recent, and this is 42,000 reviews have it at a 42% favorable. So I do not think that this rebounded.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like there was some kind of bullshit going on behind the scenes with this coming out.
And just for reference, Payday 2 is over 400,000 reviews, very positive. So
yeah. But if you want to play the game for free, here's a way to play Payday 3 for free. And if you like it, maybe go download Payday 2. maybe you'll like the game even more. So yeah, it's maybe not the most exciting thing, but it's a very popular series, and
if you have friends on PlayStation and you all have that, like, it's a co-op thing that you can play with somebody in between shit. And I don't know, like, I think Marvel Rivals has everybody in a chokehold right now outside of Fortnite. So I feel like we've yet again just found like 1 or 2 games that people want to spend time and money on. So we'll see.
Speaking of something I wouldn't want to spend my time or money on, High on Life is
Yeah,
a
dude.
PS4, PS5
No,
game.
thank you.
If you don't remember, this is that Justin Roiland first-person shooter that God,
People loved.
too much. People liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is going to give it too much credit. But it reminds me of Oddworld: Stranger's Wrath, in that hey, it's the weapons are funky, and it's
they're people.
live ammunition in a way where it's like, yes, the bullets are kind of talking, the ammo is talking to
it's
you.
It's basically like, hey, what if we made Skippy from Cyberpunk bad? And that's what you get.
There were a couple of weapons from Borderlands 2 that like talk to you, and it had AIs in them, and they would talk to you as you're shooting them. And this feels like, okay, what if we just have Pickle Rick talking to you the
Ugh.
entire fucking time you're playing the video
This
game.
came out right when all the bad shit about him did too, right?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like right before. There
Yeah.
was stuff that was happening in the fallout of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It did seem like it had some kind of clever gaminess stuff to it because
I
all your
think it
weapons
did
function
well, and I
really
think there's actually
weirdly.
either coming out or already just came out like a pretty big DLC for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, for free, you can't beat that price.
No.
But I also just don't know. Hey, there was a time I watched some Rick and Morty, and then
Yeah.
there was a time where I got very
Rick and
disillusioned
Morty.
with. But yeah, you get disillusioned with the fan base and the people who make it, and you go, these jokes don't work for me anymore, and then you just put it away, and you don't have to think about it again until that dude makes a video game that comes up on a podcast you have to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, the third game that's coming out on PlayStation Plus Essential is Pac-Man World Repack for PS4 and PS5. So this is a 2004 remake of the original PlayStation 1 platformer. It's a little bit basic, but I did kind of look into it because I don't remember this game at all. But it's kind of like a 2.5D platformer.
Okay.
And it's not quite 2.5D like you think, or like when we say 2.5D for some of these.
Well, yes, Pac-Man.
I mean, it is, the character is Pac-Man, but you're not doing a whole lot of Pac-Manning in Pac-Man World.
Okay.
It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot like a 2D platformer, but you have space that you can run forward and backward. You have like free movement forward and backward. It's not even like a Donkey Kong Country Returns where sometimes you can go into like the background or the foreground. You have the control to like move around these spaces, but the spaces are still very much like go from the left to the right. It's just you have a little wiggle room on where you go for that.
Okay.
It seems perfectly fine.
Sure.
And for free, it's hard to beat that. So I don't
all
know.
Right.
Nothing I'm super jazzed about from the PlayStation side, but maybe there will be something on Game Pass. Maybe I'll throw it over to Bobby and he can tell me about that.
Yeah, man. There's quite a bit happening, but there's also quite a bit leaving because, you have to make room, Chase. And to make room, we're getting rid of A Little to the Left, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, EA Sports UFC 3, Indivisible, Merge and Blade, Return to Grace, and Tales of Arise. Coming to Game Pass, though, there is quite a bit. And in between our last preview and this episode, they snuck in a pretty big surprise drop of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And you can go and play that there now. That came out on the 23rd of January.
So I heard that game it functions slightly differently than the original Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which was annoying some people, but I think those people are mostly just excited that anybody is talking about Ninja Gaiden 2 at all. Like, it's very exciting.
They remade it in Unreal, or they remade it. They announced a fourth Ninja Gaiden game that's coming out on Xbox. That was the big surprise at their direct that they had, whatever they call those. But yeah, you can check that out now. That is available on Game Pass. You can play it other places as well. But coming out this month in no particular order here is Avowed, Far Cry New Dawn. Some of these games I'm going through, by the way, are just coming over to cloud or console. So if we've talked about them before and they're already on Game Pass, it's just expanding out. Another Crab's Treasure, Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. Starfield is now included with just Game Pass standard. So the cheapest version of Game Pass will now come with that, which I think is what replaced Xbox Live. Madden NFL 25, Kingdom 2 Crowns, which looks really cool. I've wanted to play that for a bit, so maybe I'll check it out there. And then, as I mentioned, you've got Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And that is our Game Pass games.
Cool. Well, before we get into the month's games of February, we have to spin a wheel, yes?
Yeah, we got it pulled up here. I'm going to do my best to get you something good.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. What's it going to be? No.
Uh-oh. Bobby always gets to see it before I do. Oh, no. This is the PSP Digimon adventure game, I
Yeah.
think, that actually like follows the anime. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh
Okay is a word.
we'll
Not the one.
see. Well, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the video game, so we'll see.
Yep.
That'd be fun. All right, I'll report back with Digimon
Or
Adventure.
don't.
I think
Or
it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
let
Let
me
me
know
make
how
a
it
note.
goes.
Let me make a note that that's what I gotta play. Digimon Adventure Digital Monsters Digimon. Okay.
All right.
Very cool. Let's get into the month of February and let's start off with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which oh man. This
I've got, I think, like 5 hours of playtime with this now.
yeah.
Yep.
Man, I'm sorry. The formatting is a little messed up, so I don't see the dates.
Oh, I can tell you the dates. This is February 4th. It's out.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that I'm not going to see them for any of these games. So what? Hank,
Uh,
how about this? You give me 20 seconds. I'll
okay.
go get my laptop that has these formatted in a way that I can see. I'll
Yeah.
be right. You tell the folks about Kingdom Come Deliverance because I said this seems like a game that Bobby would like, and I don't really understand why. So maybe you can tell the folks why.
Yeah, so this game lives somewhere, in my opinion, between The Witcher and a Skyrim. It is a very, very uh, heavy and real take on this time period in the medieval periods here, and it is rough. Like you have to really go through some bullshit, and life is hard for you out here in these streets. But I have found it to be a very charming and very beautiful game. Uh, you're managing a few systems that can be pretty intense at the beat, including combat. I've not played the first one, and I know that people really enjoyed the first one. My understanding is that was a very unapproachable start to the game, and you had to learn a lot of systems over a very long period of time, and it wasn't the easiest onboarding to it. But when you got it, you loved it. And I think they do a really great job on this one of setting a tone. You're following the same character. You get thrown right into a pretty big war, and graphically it looks fantastic. The systems inside of it I can really appreciate, and I'll talk a lot more about it next week. Again, I've got like 4 hours into it, so I'm still in the tutorial, but I think there's something here. Like it's getting very, very good reviews, and it feels like it was this.
When it is getting reviewed. Some outlets did not get the game because of some other bullshit from the first game.
What do you mean?
This game series has been caught up in the culture war, Bobby.
This one? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
what happened now?
The first game especially because, I mean, I am not making a value judgment on the video game. I don't know anything about the video game.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But this was a lot of like you had some outlets going in this game that you're saying is so historically accurate. Why aren't there any black people
Oh.
in the medieval times? And then you had a lot of people who said, "Fuck all those people. You did it right." You know, that's
Okay.
kind of what happened. So even though I think the dev has tried to mostly like stay out of this in a lot of ways and mostly just talk about how we're trying to keep to historical accuracy. And I think what they've even
Totally.
mentioned is that this one, unlike the first game which took place more in the country, this one takes place in a much bigger city,
Mm-hmm.
and so there is more representation of stuff. And I think there is like even a gay storyline that happens in here as
There
well.
is. I knew that there's like a lot of pushback on that
Yeah.
with what was going on here. Yes,
So
chat. I
it's
do.
it's just that like I know Polygon put out an article saying we didn't get a copy of this. We don't know why. We requested it, and
Okay.
nobody would answer us. But so I don't know how much the
Look,
politics bullshit's going on in here. But like from a video game perspective,
yeah.
it was a massively popular video game for the first one, and this one seems like they're building on it with a lot of stuff. And it seems like they are committed to some historical accuracy stuff. They've got some people on staff that are historians that are very much like
I,
going
I
over
I
this
will
with us,
tell
like
you, It was the most satisfying yet uneventful death I've ever encountered in a game by hitting somebody with a crossbow. It made no noise. And they just grabbed their stomach and slumped over. And it was awful. But yes, this game is pretty damn cool. I'll talk more about it next week with you, and
Cool.
enjoying it quite a bit.
And that game is on the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X for people who
Yes.
look
Yes.
forward to it. On the 5th, today, as we're recording right now, Rift of the Necrodancer comes to PC. So this is the third game from the Crypt of the Necrodancer dev. Crypt of the Necrodancer, then what was the Hyrule? Cadence of Hyrule.
Yep.
And so this is the next game from them, and it's not the same as the other games, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a
I mean,
rhythm
still a
game.
rhythm game, but very different than what those other ones were.
Right. It's yeah, it's much more like a rhythm heaven. I mean, especially some of those specific ones look like rhythm heaven. Um, but I mean, it's got kind of like this punch out mode. It's got like the Guitar Hero note highway for some of this stuff, and then another game I was actually thinking of a lot when I was watching this trailer was Everhood. You remember Everhood?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I
It
think it's cool that they're trying something new in with this, and you're able to put a name that people remember and respect, but you know, take it in a new direction. I think that's pretty neat.
at the time of this recording, there is a demo. I'm downloading it right now on Steam to check this one out. But it's got good reviews. People seem to like it, which
Cool.
they make good stuff over there.
On the 6th, tomorrow, Big Helmet Heroes comes to the PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. You know,
Hmm.
I look at this and I go,
Hmm.
hey, somebody made a Castle Crashers.
Yes, I was like, okay, we're just doing Castle Crashers.
But nobody else is making a Castle Crashers.
And they
Not
should
an
be,
official Castle Crashers.
right?
So I'm glad somebody's doing it.
Yeah, man.
That's a very well loved video game.
It looks cool. It's got a great style.
Yeah, I mean, so this what we're seeing here is all just kind of a cutscene thing or a trailer video, but I think they do show some gameplay later.
Yeah, let me bounce forward here.
I think it looks perfectly solid. These are not the kinds of games I'm going to play alone.
Yeah.
But I think if you had a couple buddies and you wanted to join up, like if I feel like if you've played enough of the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up, or you've played a lot
you'd
of
want to do this.
The Turtles collection that came out, and you're just like, man, I could go for a new game to play with my buddies. This seems like a solid one of those.
Yeah,
let's try it out.
Looks cool.
Let's move on to another game that's coming out on the 6th, and that is Keep Driving, which is coming to the PC. So Bobby, I don't know about you. I've seen a lot of video games that have tried to like recreate the magic of Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Like obviously a super influential game that has done a lot of things, and there's Oregon Trail, ORGAN, when it's I can't even remember exactly what that is, but like the idea of like body parts and shit like that. But this one seems really cool.
I've played it, Chase.
You have?
I have.
Is this like a Steam Next Fest thing?
It was. This was the one where you were sick on a Monday. We were going to stream. You're tired or sick or something was going on, and we ended up not streaming. But this I had in the hopper for us, and it is very cool. The dev had talked about like just the beauty of what a road trip used to look like when you were young. Like you'd have your snacks, your music, you're going on a destination, you had just freedom. You didn't have all the commitments of life. You could just go and do shit. And that's kind of the purpose behind Keep Driving. I will say I struggled a bit with the combat and air quotes here. It's just something I need to get better at, or like better understand the mechanic. And the demo was, difficult for me. It was hard. I had a difficult time sticking with the combat elements of it, but the idea, the tone, the vibes, whatever you want to call it, were very, very positive, and it's one that I think we should absolutely check out in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is more like a roguelike experience. Yes. So I think it is probably just something where you think like, hey, maybe it clicks with you a little bit more as you continue to play on. But like you said, I love this look. I love
The
this kind of
pixels
tone
were
and
great.
attitude, and I think I could go for another Oregon Trail style game. The thing that bugs me the most maybe is that you're driving from left to right, and when I think about Oregon Trail, it's
You're
like
going,
you're going
yes.
west. God
Yeah.
damn it!
Yeah.
So this feels weird to me.
Yep.
But maybe it works within the story. Maybe you are going from west to east in this game. Who knows?
Totally.
So yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out. I think we're just started a casual Monday series, which I'm very excited about. Go check out Dead in the
It's
Water.
been a lot of fun. Dead in the Water has
But
been cool.
I could potentially see this being a series that we would
Yeah,
play as
man.
well.
Yeah, we love a good roguelike here.
On to the seventh.
Yes, that was Keep Driving.
That was Keep Driving. And we're moving on to the seventh, where we get Seguro Quest Dice Heroes. That's coming to the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. So this is a remaster, Bobby, of a Famicom video game that
Oh,
actually never showed up in the States.
that makes sense. I say it's very Super Mario Brothers 3 looking here on this
Yeah,
overworld.
it's got some of that look to it. So this is a JRPG that uses dice for fights, which is something that both you and I
Dice and fight
are
spaces.
sure. Yes, you and I have played a number of
We like a good dice here.
RPG style video games. You think about like a Dice Folk. I think about Dicey Dungeons,
Yeah.
and the
Citizen
idea
Sleeper.
that somebody, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yep.
So the idea that hey, there was a Famicom game that used a dice system.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see what that is. Yes, in the chat, Slice and Dice, a game that I have not played, but I hear very good things about Slice and Dice. So I want to try this.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's I have a feeling it's not going to be very in depth, especially after playing something like Dicey Dungeons. But
And there's another
I
dice
like
game down the line from this one this month.
that's
Too many
true. That's
dice.
true. I like the art here. They have done like a remaster version, but you can also go back to the original style graphics.
Cool.
I
There's a lot
just
to
think it
like
looks
here.
neat.
Yeah.
I wanna give it a shot. Let's move on to the 11th, where Civilization 7 is coming out for the PC, for Mac OS, Switch, PS4, PS5.
There's a
Xbox
lot of
One.
people that would benefit from playing this game right now.
Sure.
To
Yes.
understand how tariffs and trading and all this bullshit works. Motherfuckers, go get Civilization 7, you Philistines. You fucking idiots. God damn it.
It's also coming to the Xbox Series X. Bobby, how are you a Civ guy? I don't think we've ever talked about Civ.
Well, let's see here. What was the Civ that came out around 2009 or 10?
5.
I think that's right. And I played a lot of that. I ended up staying up till like 3 or 4 in the morning playing that, not realizing it. And it's weird because these types of strategy games are typically not my vibe. Like, I don't love big 4X games as much as other people do. But I did like that one quite a bit. And there was one that came out on mobile around that same time.
Civilization Revolution.
Yes, and I played a lot of that too.
I also played a lot of Civ Rev, but that's the only Civ I've ever played. Which it's people don't say that's a real Civ, so I guess I haven't played any Civ game. I don't know if I've told this story before. I know Pierce knows it. Pierce is in the chat right now because it happened at a PAX, so I know I've told him. But this was a time. This is I think it might have been the first PAX that I went to, PAX East, and it was 2013, and Firaxis was holding a panel because XCOM Enemy Unknown had just come out, so they were kind of talking about XCOM Enemy Unknown. So I wanted to go see that because I love that video game. And when I got out of the panel, I saw Ken Levine, the creative director behind BioShock.
I know Ken.
And BioShock 2, I think, or no, not BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite was just about to come out like later that month, I believe, or maybe the next month. So I think I walked up to him at some point, and this was 2013, so this is when Ken Levine wasn't, kind of an asshole, or wasn't thought of as an asshole. Didn't sink a whole company so he could go write movies that didn't go anywhere and then decide to go do something else. so I remember having a conversation with him, and we were talking. I mentioned like, oh, I'm very excited to get home and play Bioshock Infinite and see what that game is. I love Bioshock One. I know Pierce and I like Bioshock Two, even though it's not the same thing and not made by him. I was like, I'm really excited to play Bioshock Infinite. And for whatever reason, we were talking more about Firaxis stuff, and I think he asked like what other Firaxis games I liked, and I was like, oh, it's really just XCOM. I haven't played the other ones. He's like, you haven't played Civ? I was like, no. He's like, you need to go home and play Civ. Like, fuck my video game. You need to go and play Civ.
Wow.
And I think I even mentioned that I'd played Civ Rev, and he's like, "No, that's not real Civ. You need to go play real Civilization." And I never did. And then when Bioshock Infinite came out, and I was like, I don't know about this game either. After playing
God.
it, I think there was just something that kind of clicked in my brain. I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to play Civ just to spite Ken Levine, which
Jesus.
which is a real stupid thing to do. But
That's a real bullish take on it.
I've never played a Civ. I've been seeing some of the reviews for 7 though, and it sounds like people are loving it. Like this seems like one of the big ones. I know people really like 4 and 5, but this one also seems like it's hitting those high water marks.
My cousin's talking about picking it up. If he does, maybe you and I can just like one Monday say like, okay, let's see what a Civ is.
Yeah. You'd love that, Bobby. It's so fun to just sit back and watch somebody else play a video game and yell at them.
Yeah,
on a Monday night. You should try it someday.
Okay. Let's keep moving along here. We are behind schedule.
we are. We'll go a little bit faster here. On the 12th, we're getting Urban Myth Dissolution Center.
This looks cool
PC,
shit.
Switch and PS5. Yeah, so I mean, hey, we've talked about it in the past a lot. I don't love horror games. I don't even particularly like mystery genre games. There's a couple of them like Famicom Detective Club that I've played and kind of enjoyed, or like Curse of the Oberdin or Return to the Oberdin, which we're playing right now, is a mystery game. But look at this fucking thing. Look at how cool this pixel art is.
So good.
Oh, it's so cool. I don't know if I can justify playing a game in a genre that I don't like in
sure.
In, a genre that I don't know if I can deal with that. But
it looks really good.
It looks so fucking good.
It looks rad.
All right, let's keep moving here. On the 14th, Valentine's Day, Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remastered comes out on PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Hey, it's the perfect game for Valentine's Day, right?
Yep. Somebody's gonna have a great date.
I truly did not remember that they made this many.
I didn't either. That was the thing. I was like, I thought they already remade this. Oh shit, there's 4 through 6. Cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, very much like no idea they made a Tomb Raider 4, a 5, or a 6. I thought they ended at 3 and then started giving them weird subtitles after that. But we talked about it before. I was not a PlayStation kid, so I didn't see these video games and didn't think much about them.
Yep.
I thought Lara Croft was lame. So
I liked the new ones. The new ones were pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I hear, that the new ones are pretty cool. But I mean, we've also discussed how I'm not an Uncharted guy. I don't really like Indiana Jones style stuff, and Tomb Raider's just in that zone.
We're getting roasted in chat tonight.
We are getting roasted in chat. Chat doesn't like us, but that's all right.
Beating the shit in chat tonight.
I know the guy in chat, and he sucks, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh my
Bobby,
God.
on the 18th of February,
Avowed
comes
I'm
out.
so excited.
I bet you are. It comes out to PC, Xbox Series X, and as you mentioned before, it's going to be on Game Pass. So, Bobby, take it away on Avowed.
Yeah, this is the new one from Obsidian. It is going to be what I would consider to be like a, I don't want to call it a micro size, but a more contained world. It's very similar to their Outer Worlds games that they did, as far as like more vignettes. But they announced this. I'm like, oh, that looks really interesting. Like I'm curious to see what their take on Skyrim would be. But then they put out that like key art that had that really rad like skeleton with like the fungus and floral, and like it looked so cool. And more started coming out, and like there's a lot of people who have played this game that I trust their take on, and it seems very, very, very well done. Like you have a companion in it. You can do all kinds of cool creation stuff where the god you choose changes the way you look. And so like there was one character that looked like they had antlers and shit growing, another person that was more fungal and like wood. Like it looks nuts on how you can do the character creation for this. So I'm like so jazzed just to get into a really tight, very focused, shorter, I should say, experience where you get to do some cool fantasy shit.
Yeah.
And
I mean, hey, it is an Obsidian video game, so how bad could it be, right?
yeah, you can you have a lot of customization on how you play it. There you can have guns, maces, axe, magic. You can dual wield a magic wand with a pistol. Like there's all kinds of cool play styles that go with this. And you can command your companion to go and fight. There are some just really cool choices, it looks like, on how you can play this game. So I am super pumped for it. There is an early access. I think that we said it comes out on what day was that? The 18th. If you get the this is on Game Pass, so you do not have to do this. You can play it on the 18th if you don't mind waiting. But if you are interested, for a $20 upgrade on Game Pass, they give you the deluxe version, which gives you access 5 days early and a bunch of in-game shit and skins and stuff like that. So I've seen Microsoft doing that a little bit more, and I think they're going to be doing it with a few more games coming out where, hey, you have your subscription, you're going to have the base game, but if you want this version of it, you can pay $20 and get that. So it looks good. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I mean you've been a big fan of recent Obsidian games like Grounded. I know
Grounded,
you're a big
Pentiment.
Pentiment, yeah, sure.
Pentiment was cool. Yeah.
So yeah, excited to see what that's like. I mean I don't know if I'm going to play this, but I am really excited to see how Obsidian makes a better Skyrim after already making a better Fallout.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. We can skip through this one pretty quickly.
Okay.
On the 20th, Godzilla Voxel Wars comes to the Switch. This has actually been on Steam since 2023, but I look at this and I go, "Hang on, they made a they made
Into the
a
Breach.
they made an Into the Breach
Yeah.
for phones with Godzilla.
All right.
Fuck? It actually doesn't look all that good, but just the idea that somebody had the audacity to rip off Into the Breach. So,
our next Casual Monday series.
maybe. You know, it looks really boring here when you're just controlling Godzilla, but further in the trailer it goes, oh no, you can play as like Mothra and Godzilla and King Ghidorah. Like you can have control of multiple monsters as your different units, and
that's cool.
That seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though it is very much just a ripoff of Into the Breach.
Yeah.
But it's been out there for a while, but now it's coming to the Nintendo Switch as well.
Cool.
Also on the 20th, Stories from Seoul, the Gundog. It comes to PC, Switch,
this
PS4,
also looks
PS5.
Cool.
This looks super rad.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you know I love this kind
dude,
of
you are just
Game Boy
fucking
graphic-y bullshit.
Salivating
also,
over this one.
Yeah, I mean it's mobile suits. It's anime. It's
Game Boy adjacent.
Yeah, like it's just this is all my stuff.
This is your shit.
This seems cool. I mean, I'm not a big like visual novel guy, which this game absolutely is.
Yeah.
But it's got so many other cool things going on. I know Pierce and I, if Pierce is still in the chat, we both just recently watched Gunbuster for
you mentioned
program, and this game has a lot of Gunbuster DNA in it.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that mode. I'm pretty excited to see more about this. It looks really, really cool. So I just want to experience what that is.
Nice.
Let's move on to the 21st, where Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Is this the turn-based one or is this the beat 'em up one? I can't keep up with this, dude.
This is a beat 'em up one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
The last one that came out last year was turn-based, right? But they changed the name. That was
if Ichiban is the protagonist, it's a turn-based one.
Okay.
This is Majima, who is from the like more original Yakuza series. He's like one of the side. He's not side character exactly, but I think he's like the same kind of with the Sniper Elite game. Like he's the buddy. Like he's not Kiryu.
Yeah.
But he is like the guy who hangs out. And
sure.
so they're doing a silly kind of side game with him in Hawaii, and there's a lot of pirate shit that goes on. I feel like we've gotten a lot of Yakuza lately,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what's
and
going on here.
I'm kind of just
I
tired
know
of it.
people are excited about it. I just can't keep up with it,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, at least this one's. I mean, the games have been kind of goofy all the time, but this one seems doubly goofy,
Yeah.
and that could be something. But I'm also just kind of tired of Yakuza at
Yep.
this point. I think they would do well by taking a year or two off and waiting for like people to get excited about Yakuza again. Also on the 21st, Die in the Dungeon is coming to PC and Mac. I think this game looks really cute,
We
but
played it.
also really overwhelming. You played this?
We've played this.
We've played
I'm
this?
pretty sure that you were with me when we played it. This was a Next Fest thing.
Okay.
It was cool.
Was it overwhelmingly complex?
There's a lot going on. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot, but I think we were both pretty into what it was doing.
Yeah. I think it's just like looking into that middle section where it's like that big Chinese checkers board that you're putting your dice into that just feels like, excuse me,
yeah, it's a lot.
How much shit is this affecting? That just
Yep.
seems kind of nuts. I do love the art though. I think the pixel art's very cool.
I don't know if I'll pick it up right away, but it's one that we could probably find time for in the future.
Yeah, agreed. On the 27th, Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection comes to PC and Switch. I still don't really care all that much about Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think it's wild that they put 14, count them, 14 video games into a single collection package here. These are Yu-Gi-Oh games from the Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance. It's all in a single package. Pokemon could never. Like they could and would never do this, but I think it's so rad. Even though these games have to function very similarly, I think one or two of them are more like a board game and less the original card game. But most of these are just the card game, and I have to imagine maybe there's different cards that are part of them. But I feel like if I wanted to actually try Yu-Gi-Oh someday,
you can do it.
14 of the video games at once might
Here's
be a
your
way
slop.
to do that.
God.
All right. Well, let's go through a couple last games that don't matter all that much.
Oh,
on the 28th, some little game called Monster Hunter Wilds comes out to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Bobby, this doesn't seem like anything, right?
Only my most anticipated game of the year.
Well, it's only February. Well, I guess my most anticipated game was Dynasty Warriors. So yeah, I beat you to it a little bit, but I can't get mad about somebody liking an early video game.
Yeah.
What has you excited about Monster Hunter Wilds? This is you played demos of this, right?
And actually, at the time of this recording, I think today's the 5th. I think tomorrow they're doing a beta this week and through the weekend, and then next week as well with some carryover items. They just did a big breakdown of what this game is and kind of like a final preview. This is like the first true open world Monster Hunter game, and it's got some really rad shit. Like you can have 2 different weapons equipped. So if you were like, I main a hammer in this, but I've always been curious more like if I wanted to do like dual blades, I could have that and I could switch to it on the fly without having to go back to camp and all those things. You still have mounts here. There's just some very, very cool monsters that you get to, there's like an octopus or a squid that you get to take on that looks really neat. But this continues the tone and temperament that you got established with Monster Hunter World back in 2018 and then carried through with Rise. They've just blended those two. They've taken the best qualities with movement from Rise, and they've brought some of the quality of life that they started in World, and this just looks
and also like the impressive graphics of World, because Rise was a Switch game.
Yes,
and it felt like
totally.
It kind of like took a step back visually.
They actually just put out yesterday. There's if you are on PC, you can download for free basically a benchmark tool to see how you can run the game. And when the first beta came out, there was some strong feedback that it didn't perform that great. And I tested it last night with that benchmark tool, and it runs fantastic. So nice. I cannot wait. This is going to be a casual Friday staple for a while. I know Phil from our Discord hangs out and plays it. My cousin does. So we're going to be very active playing this one for sure.
Oh, I'm very excited for you.
Yeah.
And then lastly, also on the 28th, another game Bobby might be into, PGA Tour 2K25 comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Bobby, you're the golf expert, especially when it comes
I
to
am.
less arcadey golf.
Yes.
What are you thinking with this game?
I think I'm going to hold off, man. I got 2K24 and I really like it. And from what I've seen, this is obviously a visually a better looking game, not by much from what I can tell, but there's a lot more customization on the course creation that you can do. And they've also added in a couple different, like real existing tours that you can be a part of now. And it looks like there's a stronger emphasis maybe on the character like storyline with it, which I appreciate. But I just don't know if I need to play a golf game right now. There's between Avowed, Dynasty Warriors, Eternal Strands,
Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, Monster Hunter, all that. Like I've got too much to do right now, and I'm just setting myself up for failure because not to get too ahead of ourselves, but every month for like the next few months, there's a pretty cool game coming, at least on Game Pass, that I'm excited for. And we've got the Switch around the corner too. So I just don't think there's a need right now to play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, let me ask you a question. What if they made a sequel to Golf Story? How rad would that be?
And only if they did like all these really obscure sports, and put in some stuff from the devs about being unhappy, like in the dialogue. I would probably
like what if you actually took out all the cool things about it and then put like a bunch of other dumb bullshit that
like the thing that made the game unique and heartfelt. Yeah, I get rid of it. We don't need it.
That's interesting. I you know what? I think maybe I'd prefer just having like a second game that was closer to the first one. But
agreed.
That's an interesting idea too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the end here. We've got to make some picks. Bobby,
yes, we do.
What are your picks for February?
For February, Chase, I've already played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I will be checking out Keep Driving, but mostly Avowed and Monster Hunter Wilds. What about you?
Very cool. I'm also interested by Keep Driving. You know, it's PC only.
Yeah.
Come out with a Switch version. I'm probably not playing it, but I am excited if that's something that we do on a casual Monday that we can do together.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm pretty interested in that. I'm gonna try out that Seguro Quest and see the.
I think you should, man.
I think that's probably going to be a pretty cheap release, and you know, I kind of want to test it out. And then yeah, I'm too much of a weeb not to play the Stories from Soul, the Gun Dog.
Dude, the Gun Dog looked pretty rad. I'll give you that for sure.
It looks really cool. That horror game that also has the pixel art looks really cool too. But this
it sure does.
Definitely download and play that one.
Nice, man. Well, we've got a fun week here already. We kicked off our new series, Dead in the Water, where I play through Oberdin for the first time alongside Chase, who has beat it. We had some slight technical issues, and we got it on track pretty quick there into that stream. You can tune in Mondays moving forward until the end of February. We're going to take a slight break to go into the next fest and show you some demos, and then
I would say the rest of that series is going to be smooth sailing.
Oh my God. Yuck.
I'm sorry, Bobby. Was I cracking you up?
Oh boy. We are working on some cool awards or rewards during the stream that you can cash in. But yeah, we had that going on Monday night. We did our games preview tonight, and then I am going to show you Monster Hunter Wilds on Friday. So if you want to see what that game looks like in action, come and hang out. And if for whatever reason I can't play it due to servers or demo shit, we'll be playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on Friday night. So that's what we got going on here. Chase and Pierce, since you're both in chat, why don't you tell the fine folks what you all do when you're not hanging out with me?
Yeah, we mentioned earlier, I've got my YouTube channel, Twisted Plays, where I'm currently playing Star Wars Battlefront II. And who knows, maybe Bobby will join me for an episode.
I would like that.
Coming up. That'd be a lot of fun. You can go check that out on YouTube. And then Pierce and I have a podcast called Pilot Program. We watch the first episode of every television show ever made. Our last episode, as we mentioned, was on Gunbusters. Super cool. Had a great time. And then I think we're recording our next episode next week. And that's going to be on Barry, the HBO comedy drama.
Dark comedy.
It's a very good show, and I'm very excited. We're gonna have a guest on for that. That'll be cool. Should be a good episode. So look for that probably later in the week, next week. Once I get it edited. Excited about that one as well. Go check out the other ones we've done at shows.acast.com.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in and hanging out. Chase, thanks for putting this list together. You always do a great job. And we'll be